Welcome to the Zweig Letter Podcasts, putting architectural, engineering, planning, and environmental consulting guru Mark Zweig and his team of experts straight talk in your ear. Mark has more than 30 years of experience helping AEP and environmental firms thrive, and these podcasts deliver his invaluable management, industry, client, and HR advice directly to you, free of charge. The Zweig Letter Podcasts let you develop professionally, wherever you are.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Zweig Letter Podcast. Our goal is to bring you some of the best and brightest minds that the AEC industry has to offer. Today, I'm pleased to bring on again our own Sanjay Jenkins. I couldn't find any other bright minds out there in the AEC industry, so I have corralled Sanjay to come back in and join us once again for another episode. So Sanjay, it's good to have you on the show again.
Good to be back once again.
Yes, you're actually starting to develop a following because I was in San Diego last week with some folks at our final TPA for 2017. And, they asked me, where's Sanjay? And I'm like, yes.
Oh, no.
It's almost like we're Batman and Robin here. So, no, it's really cool. I was glad to hear that. And, Sanjay plays a tremendous role here. And actually today we're going to get a chance to talk a little bit more about some of the things that Sanjay and Christy Zweig Niehaus are working on here at Zweig Group. There's just a lot of changes afoot here with the company. And so I do apologize also for the elephant in the room because we did not throw out an episode last week. And I feel really bad about that. Mm-hmm. I know that those of you that are regular listeners need your Zweig fix every week. And I certainly appreciate that. And I don't take it lightly. And I let you down. And for that, I do apologize. So if you're listening to this anytime after the 4th of November, please accept my sincere apology for not having an episode ready to go for you last week. But our goal will be is to get an episode out every week by about noon on Fridays. And we're going to try to refine that moving forward. We're also trying to add some new individuals that we will be bringing on. A lot of you remember when we first started this podcast, we were reading basically, I had Mark Zweig read some of his Zweig Letter articles. And then, that's kind of corny after a while. And so then we started doing interviews of different people, CEOs and others of different, design firms, both big and small. And that's gone over really well. Corralling CEOs to take 30 to 60 minutes of their day to do an interview is tough, but we're actually moving forward now, and we're going to we've already started lining up some really high profile individuals to bring on the show in the near future. And I'm looking forward to that. And in addition to that, you'll have Sanjay and I, and we will do our best to share with you the information that we're seeing that's making a difference for firms in the design industry. And today we are going to talk a little bit about, from a marketing perspective, really, taking stock of what you currently have out client-facing, forward-facing to the public. And in this case specifically, we're going to talk a little bit about websites and website audits and things of that nature. And again, the issue here is just how do you improve upon your current situation from a marketing perspective, and what are the little tweaks that you can do to make a difference for your organization. And some of you may be listening to this and it may not necessarily be appropriate for you only because you're not in the marketing department, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a voice, you can't have an opinion, you can't bring ideas to the powers that be in your organization and say, hey, I heard this on this Zweig Letter podcast. Have you guys thought about this? Or have you thought about that? Or Sanjay says, or Randy says, and, just blame us and bring it to the powers that be and say, hey, maybe we should consider making some changes and adjustments. And I think it's, the idea is that this, especially in the design industry, we need to constantly be trying to improve our situation, both on a organizational level as well as on a marketing level. And so today we're going to kind of talk about how you improve things from a marketing perspective, especially as it pertains to the website and websites that firms have, which really is essentially your business card for your company.
Yeah.
And even nowadays, websites are not being rendered obsolete, but because of the use of smartphones and how smartphones are being used, there are different nuances to how you should set up your website to make sure that you're reaching the widest audience possible, both at a desktop level as well as on a phone level, smartphone level. So, that's some things to think about, and we'll kind of get into that. But Sanjay, what have you seen recently? And I know that we've worked with some clients in the recent past and helped them through some challenges, but why don't you just talk a little bit about just this, this whole idea of really auditing what we're doing from a marketing perspective, especially as it pertains to websites.
Yeah. So whenever I go and do a website audit, I will look at a few key things. One is just the overall design of the website. Is the theme mobile responsive? Can I pull it up on my smartphone easily, and will it function correctly, or does it look just like the desktop website, just sort of crammed and mushed into my phone?
Yeah.
Is it large screen responsive? And this is something interesting that our graphic designer Donovan pointed out to me. A lot of times, design firms, their websites are being looked at by people in a conference room on a big screen TV, or maybe it's projected onto a screen or a wall.
Yeah.
And the website's got to look good when it's stretched out and when it's scaled up as well. And that's not something that I ever really thought about, because I'm always thinking about, okay, how's it going to look on my phone? Something that we've looked at, just analyzing our own analytics and the analytics of the clients that we worked with, is that around 70% of design firms that we've looked at so far, their websites are being looked at on a desktop, not mobile.
Right.
That doesn't mean mobile optimization is not necessary. It's just that having that large screen responsiveness is important as well. So we'll look at design, look at copy, like how is the brand communicated through text? What are you saying about the company? How are you saying it? What kind of language are you using? How much of it are you using? Donovan's really good about, he's a graphic designer, so he's an artist. He's very good about spacing and font hierarchy and things like that.
Yeah, and speaking of which, just to butt in, Donovan is amazing, and he's Donovan Brigham is on our team here at Zwei Group, and he's actually working on a number of initiatives. And one thing that you'll notice in the new website that Zwei Group just launched,
yes,
that Donovan is able to tweak and do some things to that keeps it current and keeps it fresh, which I think is really cool. And most recently, he did that really cool intro for Halloween.
Yeah,
which I saw that, I was like, oh man, that's kind of hot. That's I like that, and I think it's relevant. If your website looks the same in November and in December and in January and in February, you may need to freshen it up a little bit.
And Christy actually had a really good way to sort of think through this. It's like the Google Doodles. People go to Google sometimes just to see what the doodle of the day is.
Right. And you want to explain to everybody what the Google Doodle is?
So Google will actually change their logo on their main, if you go to google.com to that main search page, and they'll have different artists. If it's like a major, person of interest, maybe it's a scientist, maybe it's a poet, or maybe it's just a big event. They will sort of shape their Google logo to sort of reflect whatever that person or that event represents, or some elements of that into their logo. And you can go to their Google Doodle archive and see. It's probably pretty much like a daily basis thing.
Yeah.
It's like different every day.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things that they do is they actually let kids compete. You can draw a doodle that could be featured on Google for scholarship money. My little brothers competed in that.
Okay. They've even incorporated apps onto that Google Doodle.
Yeah,
thing.
There's some
which is kind of cool. So.
They've got a lot of really interactive doodles as well. But just the neat thing about that is it gives people an incentive to go back to that website.
Yeah.
You want to go, what's happening at Google? Well, what's happening at, XYZ design firm today? What have they done? And one of the benefits of some of the back end things that we've done on our own website is that we can go in, and when I say we, it's usually Donovan because he's the creative genius here.
Right.
Go in and change things on the fly and test and then push it out live. And it's from the website that we had before the one we have now. I think we've gone 10 steps forward at least in terms of what we can do with it and how and how useful and visually compelling it is.
Yeah.
So to touch back on the things that I look at in an audit, I look at things like what kind of responsive elements are built into the website. Like, is there a slider that goes through different pictures, maybe video, different parts of the business? One of the big things that we focus on is navigation. Can you get around the website and find information efficiently and logically? That's something that is hit or miss with a lot of design firms, mostly because some of these firms just have a huge, just an incredible volume of services that they offer. Yeah. And trying to keep everything straight and make sure that everything gets a bit of love is tricky sometimes. So that's like the basic overview of what I'm looking at, what I'm looking for. And then also, because I'm a big social media nut, I guess, I look to see how things are integrated. Is your Facebook linked on the website? Do you have Twitter or Google Plus or LinkedIn? So one of the interesting things that I've noticed recently is that a lot of firms will have these social media networks set up. They'll have accounts, but there will be no mention of it on their website.
Right.
Whenever you build a website,
best kept secret.
Yeah, really. So Donovan has this really good way of thinking about websites, in that it's like your office on the internet, and you have to make sure that someone's in there every day, watering the plants, vacuuming the carpets, is sort of like just doing the basic maintenance you need to make sure that it's fresh. One of the things that I've seen a lot of is I'll see recent news or updates, like current events, and it's from 2015 or earlier.
Yeah.
And the spacing between content being put out, it's really like an afterthought. There's got to be some sort of consistency integrated into it. The websites that I like the most, that I'm most surprised by, are the ones that consistently put out content, integrate their website with all their content channels, like their social media, their blog, that are laid out logically. And that's a navigation. I'll go back to navigation a lot. I think it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised at the number of firms that don't even have a sitemap on their site.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, what is a sitemap? And web crawlers and Google uses that sitemap to determine the relevancy of a website. And, SEO, all of that is a moving target nowadays because that technology is changing in the way that, the web crawlers, Google basically sends out crawlers to review every web page to determine the relevancy of that page.
Yeah.
That relevancy in turn helps Google determine whether or not it should be at a high ranking on the first page of Google search, or it should be on the 50th page of Google search. And so, it's kind of important for you to be constantly improving in that way, making sure that you have a very clear sitemap and going through all of that. And I'd be interested to see, I know you've looked at a few of them now, but how many of the firms that you've worked with have had to either update or even add a sitemap to their site?
Oh, I think most of them, probably about 95%.
Don't even have one.
Yeah, don't even have one.
Yeah. Okay.
And
which is huge. That's like website development 101.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, and these are firms that are, like $1 million firms.
Oh yeah,
which is amazing, right? When you think about it, it's like, wow, these guys are out there making some serious coin. Yet their marketing apparatus is kind of not that it's in tatters, but it's just not fully evolved,
right?
And that's it's surprising, and it makes you wonder that if a firm really took the time, to really build up that side of it, right? Because that's the piece that works when you sleep.
Right. Absolutely.
It's always there. I mean, literally, you should be able to go to a site and pretty much get most of your questions answered about any services or products or whatever that company offers. And this is just across the board. But I mean, you should get a lot of your questions answered.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the times people can't.
Yeah.
So it's just like having an FAQ, which a lot of people just do not have on their, on their website. And I'm just like, what are the questions that people call in and ask all the time about your firm?
Right.
It's the same ones. They come up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Write those down, put them on the website.
Boom.
Call it an FAQ.
Or just I mean, have it on your homepage. I mean, that's something that we've been, I can't tell you how many times we've tweaked, and we will continue to tweak this, but on our homepage, all the information, like what our company does, what Zweig Group actually does.
Right.
And how we do things and all the services, like we're constantly tweaking it. It's an experimentation. It's an evolving process, but it's a process that needs to be done. Like you have to start the process at some point. And I think that's really where, the issue lies here in this industry. One of the, I've always wondered, like, okay, so you have these like $1 million firms, they're doing well, but they're doing no marketing. How are they actually like still alive? And there are multiple ways people make money without doing marketing.
Yeah.
But it's really like, it comes down to, do you want to grow?
Yeah.
Like, how big do you want to be? And if you want to be big, or if you want to grow even just a little bit, you're going to have to do marketing.
Absolutely.
It's actually, I was looking at the 2017 Principals, Partners, and Owners survey yesterday, and 47% of principals said that like their top strategy for growth this year was marketing initiatives and marketing strategy. Well, if you look at the marketing survey, you'll see that marketing managers, directors, coordinators, they're not spending their time on marketing. They're spending their time on business development, sales, by writing proposals. That's not marketing. That's sales.
Right.
So I think there's this really big disconnect, a big misunderstanding as to what marketing is. And Will Schneers talked about it, CEO of Big Red Dog. Mark Zweig, he had a TZL article not that long ago called "What is Cheese?" I thought that was pretty good. Chad Kleinens, he had an article in the TZL not that long ago as well. Again, marketing versus sales. Like, I think that's probably the one of the biggest reasons why the industry is not marketing based on like how you and I understand marketing.
Right.
And I may be a bit arrogant in saying this, but I think probably the true sense of marketing, like the real marketing, the reason why that's not happening is because there's this gross misunderstanding of what marketing actually is and how to go about doing it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And, we'll certainly reference those articles in our show notes. The article that Chad wrote, the article that Mark wrote, and actually Will's article was really good too.
Yeah,
so those are really good examples of, kind of what's needed. But, I get it. I mean, firms are busy. They don't always have the time to think about that. And, let's face it, for some firms, marketing isn't the first focus. And marketing a lot of times will just extend to business development from a proposal standpoint. And there are some huge differences there. And Will talks about that in his most recent article. And I forget the title of it, but we'll reference it. But I think it's just important to be able to compartmentalize the things that you can be improving upon within your organization and not feel like, oh man, this is just too much information for me to consume and then delegate these responsibilities to somebody to have them do. So whether you are a decision maker in your organization, or you are just part of your organization, you want to see your company be successful, you should be encouraging people to have a conversation about how we make certain changes. Tell me real quickly, because tell me real quickly what what is your normal interaction with a client when they go through, or what is their normal response after a website audit?
It really depends on how ready and willing they are to change things.
Yeah.
Because we've had clients where they're like, okay, yeah, but they're not really like there yet. And so that requires a bit of selling, and I do have to hand it to my boss, Christy, who's just, I mean, she's been hustling. We've been winning a lot of jobs recently, and she's just been going after it. And I thank her for it, just because this is work that I love doing.
Yeah. But it's fun too. I mean, it legitimately is fun, because even the smallest of tweaks can make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The three of us, Christy, Donovan, and I, we've been having just a blast working on these projects. But we've sort of seen a good amount of diversity in terms of response.
Right.
We've got, some clients who are just like, all right, yeah, we love it. Let's go. Let's do this. And that's really fun for us, because that means we just get to sort of set Donovan on the creative journey, and
right.
And you should, if you have a chance, like go check out his, we'll link to his Instagram in the show notes.
Yeah, Donovan has got some skills.
Or if you look at some of the recent, or all of the Civil Plus Structural Engineer magazine covers, that's Donovan.
Yeah.
He's just a solid artist and graphic designer and web developer and web designer. So it's really fun to just have him, okay, he comes up with these great ideas. We go back and forth, okay, we need this, we need that, we don't need this. And we're getting it's fun to work on those jobs.
Yeah.
Because we get to do some cool stuff. We get to try new things. We really get to push boundaries. And the clients that, are a bit hesitant, they end up coming around. And we, eventually get to the point where we're, with the clients who were like, yeah, that's great from day one.
Right.
Just because by that point we have sold them on the value of everything that we're trying to do with their website, and the importance and the simplicity with which, they could go from A to B, and then B being more effective client attraction, more effective recruiting. I mean, it's really cool to see these transformations. And as we start to do more of these, sort of oh, wow, these are the interactions that we've had since doing this website redesign, and it's been great. That's what we want to hear.
So in light of just, for full disclosure, we've actually taken our own medicine in this area. So we just recently went through a total redesign of Zweig Group, the website. And I think that I'm very proud to say that the site looks amazing.
It does.
We looked at our deficiencies, and we got somebody else involved, right? We got a third party involved to kind of help us. So even good marketers know, or have the sense enough to know that we don't know everything.
Right.
And a lot of times you want to employ the help of other individuals to give you some background and context in terms of what's working.
Yeah.
Because we do a little bit of everything in the design industry space. Website audits and marketing are just one component. But certainly we lend ourselves to people that, do it full time all the time. That's all they do and nothing else. And certainly they lend a perspective to it. Then we take it back and help apply it.
Absolutely.
Ourselves. So we eat our own dog food, and then we share it with other people that want to have some.
That's precisely, yeah. I mean, we've learned a lot, the three of us, in the months that we've been working with this third party. And I mean, the fun thing is that we get to take our lessons, the things that we've learned. Because here's the thing. It's not just we hired someone to redo our website and then it's set it and forget it. It's not set it and forget it. We're in the weeds of the back end of the website every single day. Donovan's, working on adjusting the theme, adjusting sliders. Christy's changing content. I'm changing content. I'm just sort of trying to incorporate the online store into the website. We're operators. We're not just people who studied the book. We're actually learning by doing as well. And it's really rewarding for us to be able to take all the lessons that we've, learned, the do's and the don'ts.
Yep.
And then say, okay, so here's how you can do it, and here's how we can help you. To our clients, to our design firms. And that's been a lot of fun. And I do think it's really good that we're taking our own medicine. I think I hope that it shows, everyone listening that we're not just on a soapbox, just, saying stuff. Like we're operators. We test everything that we do.
Right.
We, all, like, if you talk to, consulting side, it's backed by research that we do. We spend so much time validating every single thing every action, every piece of advice that we give. And I just think it makes it that much more valuable to the design industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, we are in the trenches with you guys. Those of you that are listening, the only thing that we can do is to continue to practice and refine the process. And so we just encourage you to do the same thing, no matter at what stage you're at, and really take an honest look at your current website, if it could use improvement, if you could make some changes, and stop saying, oh, well, we'll get to that one day, or, things are so good that we don't want to, we'll just leave things alone for now, well enough alone, and we'll just deal with it later. You really need to be proactive. The market is changing rapidly. And so certainly want to encourage you to be in that mindset of thinking, how can we consistently improve? Not, we're going to improve this year and then we'll wait a year or two and then we'll go back to it. Because I see people all the time that, they'll do a website redesign and then that's it. They'll leave it alone. And
for years.
Yeah, for years. And they haven't looked at it and says, oh, we did that in 2014. I'm like, okay, 2017. The technology changes every 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Or if not faster. And, I don't want to get into the nuances of, the HTML language and how there are so many, changes to that in terms of the responsive nature of your website and how it will be seen on different screens. But here's some things to think about. Nowadays, you have the ability to be represented. Your company has the ability to be represented on somebody's home screen on their big screen TV at home.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that your site is tight and that it can be seen in that light. And it's the same way with this. And we talked a little bit about it when we did the whole new media piece. It's the same issue with talking about, intelligent speakers.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking of Google Home and Amazon Alexa and all of, these things are going to be in the next 2 years. That's what we're going to be talking about. And it's like, well, have you created enough Alexa skills for your organization so that if people need to find out who you are, find out more about you, all that's represented on, on someone's Alexa, because they're just going to look at that. And I'm about to bring an Alexa here in the office, an Echo, and I'm just going to ask it questions because we use it at home quite a bit. And I know people are like, oh, well, I don't know, that's new technology, but with the percentage of people that are adopting this technology, it's just, you're going to wake up soon. And our conversations are not going to be so much, I've got to go to this website and look this information up. I'm just going to ask Alexa. Yeah. I'm going to ask Google. Or I'm going to ask the Apple HomePod that's about to come out, some questions about what I'm looking for. Hey, I'm looking for a civil engineer firm that can do some civil site development work for big box retail, whatever. And that information will be readily available. Well, here are 4 options for you in your area. There's so-and-so, there's so-and-so, and there's so-and-so.
Right.
Now, those all may be your competitors, and you may not even be listed on it because you haven't taken the time to put yourself in a position to be relevant in that new mode of marketing.
Yeah. Getting a new website or just making sure that your website is optimized for today is important because it'll help systems like Alexa and Google scrub your website for data and if it's formatted improperly or if there's some like crazy HTML code that's like really messing things up, you're not going to be found.
Yeah.
And that's it's weird to say that, I guess. It's the likelihood of you being found on those services is going to be dramatically lowered.
Yeah.
So it's very important to make sure that you're at least just optimizing the back end of your website. And it's not hard to do. Especially like we use WordPress for our own stuff here at Zweig Group.
Yeah. And WordPress is great.
We use WordPress.org, not .com. So for those of you who do not know, WordPress.com is sort of like your Squarespace, your Weebly, your Wix, where it's like they give you a website builder.
Right. Website in a box.
Yeah. WordPress.org is basically like a dashboard that helps you manage everything, but you have to find a theme for it. You have to host it somewhere. It's a bit more complex, but with that complexity comes a lot of options for customization, and it's important to have that.
Yeah, it's probably one of the better content management systems out there. Period. And just to piggyback on that, as I'm sitting here thinking, as we're about to close this one, why don't we do this? I know there are a lot of you that are listening to this. Some of you are like, man, we could use some help in this area. Sanjay and Christy and Donovan are here to help you guys out. And again, this is our shameless plug, but I would say this. Why don't we do this? Why don't we say from now until the end of the year? So this is 2017. So this is actually being recorded on November 3rd. But from now until the end of the year, we will work out a special deal for anybody that inquires to have us do a website audit. Sanjay, you've got the bandwidth, right? You've got plenty of time to do it.
I will make the time if I don't.
You will make the time, right? So
I will forego sleep for you.
Anybody listening to this, you can call Zweig Group, 1-800-466-6275. You can check us out at zweiggroup.com. You can email Sanjay. You can email me and just say, hey, I want the podcast website audit special.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of you, and we'll get you a leg up in the way that you're representing your organization for 2018, and give you some really helpful ideas, some tips, some hints, and help you start thinking differently about how you represent your organization from a marketing perspective, specifically as it pertains to websites.
Yep.
So does that sound fair?
That sounds great.
All right, so let's do that. So we're gonna close out today, but that's going to be our gift to you. So, the holiday season's already started. I've already started seeing the Christmas commercials. And, the Lexus December to Remember commercial is already running. Gosh. I mean, it's like the day after Halloween, they start running it. So, and it's not even December yet. But we're going to do a Zweig Group December to Remember now. We're going to start it now. We're going to offer some specials. So just be in touch with us and just say, hey, I'm a podcast listener. If you're a podcast listener, we've got some special deals for you. Just call up and just say, hey, I listen to the Zweig Letter podcast. What can you do for me? And we will take care of doing something special for you. The first thing that we're going to do for you is that we're going to encourage you to get a free, that's right, you've heard it right, a free subscription to the Zweig Letter. That is now free, 100%. You can get it for both you can get it for your whole organization. I had a whole company of 600 people sign up for the Zweig Letter. They all got the digital version free.
Yeah. Okay. Every single one.
You can't beat it. Nope. And we will also throw in several free copies of Civil Plus Structural Magazine, which is an amazing engineer magazine that you just have to check out when you get a chance.
There's a lot of, if you're interested in mergers and acquisitions, this month's issue, the lead story is about mega mergers.
Okay.
Written by our own Richard Massey, who is the editor of the Zweig Letter.
Right.
And it is I was reading yesterday, it is a powerful article. Really great. Talks about the Jacobs CH2M merger. Let's say SNC Lavalin. I believe that's the firm. Yeah. What they're doing. A lot of cool stuff in that article. A lot of cool stuff in that magazine.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. And the magazine looks good. And that's partially because Donovan's all over
all over that.
His fingerprints are all over that magazine. But yeah, so just check that out when you get a chance. And also, in addition, if your firm is looking to hire great talent, please join our mailing list for AEC Workforce. Just text the word hire faster to 66866, and that will get you on the list where you will learn more about this job board that is coming soon for the design and construction industry. As a reminder, all Zweig Group media programs like this one are available in both podcast and in a lot of instances, video format, free for download on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, just to name a few places. A link to all of this information, including contact information for myself or Sanjay, will be in our show notes. And we'd love it if you'd go to iTunes or wherever you tune into this show and give us a 5-star rating and share this link with a friend. Remember, sharing is caring.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Randy Wilburn.
I'm Sanjay Jenkins.
And you've been listening to Zweig Group Media, part of Zweig Group. Remember, we exist to make you more successful. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to this Zweig Letter podcast. We hope that you can apply Mark's no-holds-barred advice to your daily professional life. For a free transcript of this or any episode of our podcast, please visit info.zweiggroup.com/podcast. If you want more wisdom and inspiration, in addition to information about finance, HR, and marketing your firm, subscribe to the print or digital version of the Zweig Letter online at zweiggroup.com/publications.